Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to review the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray Steelbook edition of Venom, Let There Be Carnage. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365. Okay, Venom, Let There Be Carnage is here on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, released by Sony. It comes in a standard slipcover edition, which is available at all your local and online retailers, and a Best Buy exclusive Steelbook. Now, as far as the film itself goes, I think a lot of us can agree that the original Venom was a bit of a welcome surprise. It had kind of that 90s throwback comic book movie vibe to it. And I think, while it wasn't perfect, it was still very enjoyable, a lot of fun, and it connected to the Spider-Man universe from the obvious way of the character. Now, as far as the sequel goes, directed by Andy Serkis, I kind of feel that the movie takes a little bit of a step back. One of the things I really don't necessarily like when they do a sequel to a movie is they kind of reset the character a little bit, and I feel that Venom and Eddie Brock's relationship does that. Yeah, one could argue it's kind of growing pains type of a situation, but it honestly feels a little bit much more like the, more of the second part of the first movie, where they're still finding each other and how their relationship is. And the dynamic between Eddie Brock and Venom, I still feel had some good moments, but they amplified that, I think, a little too much in this particular movie. And just even the title main villain, Carnage, I feel is woefully underused. He really only comes out in the last, I would say, 30 or so minutes of the film. So you get almost a little bit of filler, and in a 90-minute movie, that's kind of like an odd thing to happen. But it's still, I think, it is enjoyable, but not quite as much as the first movie. So I think it's okay. It's in my collection, and of course it has ties to upcoming, projects, which I won't mention here. But yeah, it's here. It's a movie. So, okay, we're going to talk about the picture quality and the audio in just a moment. But first, let's do a quick unboxing of the Steelbook. Okay, we have the Best Buy exclusive 4K Steelbook edition of Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Now, I really like the cover artwork. The back, unfortunately, it's just a zoomed in picture of the same cover. So it's like, but I still like the art. I think it really works. So. And then we have the spine, and then the interior, some nice artwork on both discs, Venom and Carnage. So yeah, overall I like the Steelbook, it's very nice. Let's talk about the picture quality and the audio. Venom, Let There Be Carnage on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray has a 185:1 aspect ratio. It is an upscale from a 2K digital intermediate with HDR10 and Dolby Vision for the grading. For purposes of this review, I will be discussing the Dolby Vision encode. Since this movie was shot digitally, it does have a very nice clean look. I did detect a couple instances of digital noise on some of the darker scenes, but it wasn't featured prominently. Also, the movie itself is a little inherently dark, which I'll talk a little bit more about in the black level section of this review. So it has some kind of atmosphere to it, and it's not quite as vibrant and bursting with color as you might think some newer releases would be. Speaking of the color palette enhancement, I feel it's a little bit more reserved, but that's mostly due to the artistic style of the film. Sure, you do get bursts of color from time to time, whether it's scenes involving fire, it really gives you a nice vibrancy in those particular shots, and also transition cutaway scenes of like the city from a distance or something like that. Venom in the club scene when he's, covered in those neon ropes. Those are instances where color really gives you a little bit more flourish, but other than that, they're a little bit more, I would say, muted in tone. But I do feel that Dolby Vision does a good job for the palette at hand. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of dark moments throughout the film, and I think for the most part, black levels are handled respectfully. They look good. Nighttime scenes, I feel, look very well done. They're not quite as deep and inky in most shots. I would say maybe a little bit of elevation from time to time, but once again, I think that's more or less an artistic choice than a limitation from behind the camera. But I will say that shadow detail in darker interior scenes is well rendered, it looks excellent, and I think appropriate for the kind of movie that it is. Of course, with this being a 2K upscale, your increase in the overall detail department is not going to be a huge upgrade. But I will say though that even the CGI creations I feel are a little bit more textured there. Carnage, Venom for instance, I feel look good. They're obviously CGI and do retain a little bit of softness, but I feel there was an extra bit of attention in that area. Skin textures on the human characters up close, clothing, facial features, that sort of thing look really good, and once again, you're not getting a huge upgrade in that department. Venom Let There Be Carnage on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray supports a Dolby Atmos audio presentation. Now this being a rather new Marvel movie, I was expecting a lot from my surround sound environment, and I will say for the most part, I was not disappointed. There's a good dynamic energy. I do feel, however, that some of the quieter moments, what few of them there are, have a little bit less when it comes to ambience and atmospheric effects, but when action scenes kick in, that's really when your Atmos is coming to play. Dialogue through the center channel is clean and clear at any given moment, even through the more chaotic scenes throughout the film. And the front speakers are complementary to the center, they do a great job. And mid-level and rear speakers, as I said before, the quieter moments, a little bit less activity back there, but when action scenes kick in, that's really when it comes to life. The climax at the church at the end of the film is multi-directional, and when Carnage screams, "Let there be carnage," I actually startled in my seat a little bit. It was very, very room-filling. The same could also be said for the high speakers. There's a good fair amount of discrete channel activity as well as complementary. And the LFE channel provides a very punchy low end. The scene where the camera focuses on Shriek near the beginning of the film, you get that low level rumble, which is nice. And when Carnage is breaking out of prison, you get that action thumpiness. Venom jumping from rooftop to rooftop, you feel the impact. And of course, the climax once again highlights what the low end can do. For the picture quality, I'm going to give Venom Let There Be Carnage on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray an A-. The movie itself from Marvel I feel is a very strong offering on the format. The Dolby Vision HDR does a very good job with the color palette, reserved as it is. Black levels are modest, and the increase in resolution I feel is minimal but still noticeable. If you're a fan of the film, the 4K edition is the way to go. For the audio mix, I'm going to give this one a solid A. Sony once again shows off why they are one of the best on the 4K Ultra HD market. Unlike Disney Marvel films, this Dolby Atmos packs a lot of punch. The surround sound environment is very dynamic and active. It has a good energy up front, and it gives you a nice bit of punch in the LFE. The movie itself sounds very good on the Dolby Atmos, and Sony did a great job with this 4K disc. So that is my review of Venom Let There Be Carnage on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. If you're interested in picking this up for yourself, I will leave an Amazon link in the comments section. If you use it, it really helps out the channel. But if you have the 4K disc already, let me know your thoughts down below. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.